Hey, beautiful people. I got asked this morning by one of my wonderful long term clients, Shane, what do you make of these times? What a question, hey? And importantly, what do you make of spirituality within these times? I fucking love that question. You know, absolutely fucking love it. I feel that there's a kind of spirituality that can often feel good in the moment. Soft lights, gentle words, something you can float away in. And then there's a kind of spirituality that actually changes you. Right now we don't need more escape. I really feel we don't need more escape. We need something that can stand in the fire with us. We are constantly being pulled away from self. So just maybe the medicine is to return over and over and over again. Spirituality in these times has to come down from the clouds and get dirt underneath its nails. It has to walk into those places that people just don't post about. That grief that creeps into the room and sits in your chest at 3 a.m. The anger that doesn't fit into neat, perfect affirmations. The confusion, the numbness, the quiet unravelling of identities that no longer hold. This path isn't always graceful. It's not always peaceful. Sometimes it's clumsy, and quite often it's fucking messy. It's confronting and deeply inconvenient. It asks you to stay, to lean in when every instinct says run. To feel when it would be easier just to bypass. To tell the truth when it would be more comfortable to dress it up in something that's just high vibe. And yet, that's where something real begins. Grounded spirituality does not pull you out of your life. It roots you deeper into it, into your body, into your choices, into your relationships, into the quiet knowing. A knowing that isn't performative, isn't borrowed, isn't rehearsed, it's fucking lived. And as a good friend of mine says, and he said this to me around my birthday, it's another year to shine brighter, to root deeper, and to roar fucking louder. Absolutely love that. It's the moment you stop trying to transcend your humanity. Like I say, it's not about ascending, it's about descending. Coming into this is where we are. So it's the moment you stop trying to transcend your humanity and instead decide to inhabit it fully, messy, honest, awake. Because the truth is, transformation isn't polished. It's raw material. Leaning into the soul alchemy, it's about refining, distilling that raw material. It's friction. It's the slow, sometimes brutal reshaping of who you thought you were. And it takes grit to stay with that. Real grit. The kind that doesn't need to be seen or even validated. And for those that are walking with others as guides and facilitators, space holders, this isn't a role you get to play from a distance. You don't get to hover above the work. You're asked to meet people in the places that don't resolve neatly. to sit with what doesn't make sense, to hold presence when there are no pretty words left, to recognize that sometimes the most sacred thing you can offer isn't insight, it's your willingness to not look away, to not rush the process, to not fix, to not perform wisdom. Just to be there, steady, human, real and raw, and right in the middle of it. Because that's where trust is built. That's where something deeper than the technique or language takes root. Not in the light we talk about, but in the parts of life we're brave enough to stay with. That's the work now. Less illusion, more truth. Less performance, more presence. Less escape, more embodiment. It's not always beautiful. In the way we were taught to recognize beauty. But it's real. It's raw. And that is what makes it beautiful. And right now, real is what is needed. You know, watching fake situations fold on their own is the ultimate mental reset. You stop wasting your energy trying to hold together things that were always meant to fall apart. And when you finally take that breath and that courage to step back and let everything play out, you realize how much power you were giving away, forcing connections, stressing over how things look, and that just drains you. The real power is in silent observation. And once you detach from that fake stuff, you get your focus back. You stop reacting to the noise and you start rebuilding your own foundation from the inside out. You stop chasing and start operating on a completely different frequency where only solid things can stay. As always, sending you all so much love. Keep shining.